Hi guys and girls, I've got a video here for you on the area of some quite simple shapes, mostly looking at rectangles, squares and triangles in this video. So what is area? What do we mean by area? Well, it means the amount of space that's covered by a 2D shape. So think of the area of your floor in your, wherever you're sitting, your room, your dining room, wherever. It's like how much carpet's on the floor, or how much laminate, or whatever you've got on the floor. The area that's covered is what we're going to be looking at. So the simplest way you can do area is if you've got a grid around your shape or through your shape, you can count the squares. So we can simply go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm just going to make a note of that. It's really easy to lose count. You could go in with a different colour if you wanted to. Let's go green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So I've got 18 red dots, 27 green dots, so that's 30, 45. You don't have to do it in two different colours, you could just count them out. I know some people that write the numbers in the squares. As long as you count them, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go down to this triangle here. So the whole squares, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it a whole square? It's not quite, is it? 5, 6, 7. So 7 whole squares. And now I've got to imagine that I'm sticking bits together. So I reckon those two would make a square. I reckon that's missing a teeny weeny corner, and that is a teeny weeny corner. So I'm going to say that those two are a square. I'm going to say that those two are a square. I reckon... Oh, that's hard. I reckon those two will probably make a square, and then I've got a half left over, I think. Yeah, that looks about right. So I've got 7 whole squares, and then I've got, so they make a square. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half bits of a square. So I've got 11 and a half squares. I'll show you how another way, a quicker, easier way of doing triangles, but if you're counting, that's how you would have to do it. On to this one over here, which has got a rectangular bit and a kind of slopey triangular bit. So I'm going to kind of cut this shape up, I think, into whole squares and not whole squares. So they've got not whole squares and they've got not whole squares. So the whole squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. 55 whole squares. Now I've got to add up these bits. Well, actually, I think if I joined those two bits together, so like if I cut that out, turned it round and stuck it, where does it go up to? It goes up to there, doesn't it? Stuck it there, that would then give me, how many extra squares would that give me? Where's my extra colour? So 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4, so plus 4 extra squares, assuming that that's gone there. So that would give me, I don't really like writing in highlighter, that would give me, let's go purple, 59 squares. And then down to this one's nice and simple. But again, it's an idea of where you can kind of, could even go quicker, because this is in twos. So you could go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25. So there's 25. Right? You don't have to count individuals, you can count them in chunks. So that's the kind of basic area. The next simplest area is going to be rectangles and squares. So this 3 centimetres here, you kind of imagine that it's chopped into a 3 by 3 square. So that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now obviously you don't want to keep chopping them up, because I mean the bigger your numbers, the more you've got to cut them up. And could you imagine trying to cut that into 14 bits? No, 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 no. So we need a quicker way. And the quicker way is to multiply these two numbers together. So in this one we've done 3 times 3, which is 9. In this one we would do 8 times 3. I'm going to write it in here. 8 times 3 is 24. Now there's something missing off my answers. I need my units. 24 what? 9 watts. We're not doing squares because I drew these squares in. And frankly, they're rubbish squares. I haven't measured them out. So they are centimetres squared. Right? Because they are squares that are a centimetre each. Or they would be if I measured it out. So this one here is going to be 24 centimetres squared. This one I've got 7 times 5, 7 times 5, I don't know why I wrote it up there, I'm going to write them inside. 7 times 5 is 35 centimetres squared. 6 times 14 is, well, 10 times 6 is 60, 4 times 6 is 24, so that's 84. Need equals in there, centimetres squared. And then 9 and 9, 9 times 9 is 81. But careful, this one is not centimetres squared, it's metres squared. And this one, although it's slanted, it's still 7 by 7, so 7 times 7 looks like a bit like a mouse now, is 49, and again metres squared. So you do area is width times height. And it could be written on the bottom. It wouldn't matter if I had 8 centimetres written there instead of there. Or it could have had the 3 on this side instead of that side. Doesn't matter, it's still how wide the triangle, how wide the rectangle and whatnot is, multiplied by how tall it is. Okay? And then the last one for you is triangles. Now triangles are a bit weird. Because if I started it as a rectangle, how much of it is now shaded in by what I did? It's half. Half of that shape I have shaded it. So, and we know that that's a rectangle. We know how to do those. We know we do 6 times 4. But then I only want half of it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 6 by 4, then half of it. So 6 by 4 is 24. And then half of 24 is 12. So it would be 12 centimetres squared. If we look at the second one over, this one here, how wide is it? 5. How tall is it? 7. So we are going to do 5 by 7, pretend it's a rectangle, because you're going to kind of chop it a bit like that. I should really use a ruler, that's terrible. So that's 35, but triangle is always half, so we're going to half it. That is, half of 30 is 15, half of 5 is 2.5, so 2.5, so that's 15, 17 and a half. So 17.5, or it could be 0.5 if you prefer, centimetres squared. This one. How wide is it? 3. How tall is it? 7. Pretend it's a rectangle, do 3 by 7. That's 21. It's a triangle, so you half it. So half of 20 is 10, half of 1 is 0.5, so that's 10.5 or 10.5. Okay, 10.5. Actually, I'm going to put that one as 0.5, because it doesn't matter. Last 3, how wide is it? 8. How tall is it? 13. 8 by 13. Well, 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 3 is 24. Add them up is 104. It's a triangle, so what do we do now? We half it. And that is 52. So 52 centimetres squared. And then this last one, I've included this last one because it's weird. Because if we just leave it as it is, we do not know how wide it is or how tall it is. That's not what we're told. This triangle has been pushed over. So if I was to take this corner here and lift it up, I would now have 9 centimetres here and 12 centimetres here. Okay, so this line is now like sitting on the table. So now I can say it's 9 centimetres wide times 12 centimetres tall. So that's 9 tens are 90, 2 nines are 18, so that is 108. Don't know why I wrote it so spaced out. But it's a triangle, so what do? I half it, which is 54. So just watch out for those ones that have been tipped over. They're there to try and trick you. So, area for a triangle is width, otherwise known as base. We'll put that there. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but technically on a triangle it's called a base. So width times height, then divide by 2. Alright, so you've had quite a few examples there. There's 6 triangles, 6 rectangles, 6 counting squares, 16 examples in total. Hopefully they all made sense. The things to remember are those formulae. So triangles, squares and rectangles. Okay, they are the 2 key pieces of information you need to do these shapes. Anyway, catch you later. Bye!